Well, this is the Paul Hudson Weather Show on the BBC. Well, it's this time of the year. What could be better than a nice walk in the countryside? And the weather over the next few days looks fairly settled, so perhaps you're busy getting fit, training for a marathon or a triathlon. Well, a woman in Sheffield was out in the Peak District running with a friend when she got a bite, which literally changed her life. Sarah Stiles got Lyme disease, and she's with me now. How are you, Sarah?
Hi, I could be better, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, this sounds an awful story, and, you know, puts the fear of God at people, you know, wanting to go out walking. Just give us a bit of background to this. How was your health and lifestyle before you got the bite?
I was very fit and healthy and a long-distance runner in my spare time. I just ran 2 half marathons and was embarking on training for my first triathlon when I fell ill.
Right, okay, and what sort of timescale are we looking at? When did you sort of discover this bite? How long ago was it?
Well, I was out running up at Lodge Moor in Sheffield, yep. And that was spring of 2013. Yep. And I got back to the car and my friend said, "Oh, you look like you've got some sort of bite on the back of your leg." I looked down and thought, "Oh, it's just a midgy bite." I never thought anything of it. I went back home and my husband said, "Oh yeah, it's a circle. I've not seen that before." Thought nothing of it at all. Then a couple of years passed by and I just fell acutely ill in work one day. Went home, went to the doctors with a very, very high heart rate, high blood pressure, chest pain. And from there, I just went downhill, basically. Lots of different trips to the GP, A&E and hospital departments.
So, I mean, I know that area quite well. In fact, me and Harry Gresham pushed a sofa up that neck of the woods towards Stanage Edge. So I'm trying to visualise where you were running. Presumably you weren't running on a road, you were running through a field or something like that.
Yes, that's right. There's a track that runs parallel to the road where the Three Merry Lads is on.
Yes, know it well, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a wooded area to the left-hand side.
Yep.
And if you go across the football pitch, it's like a pebbledy sort of path, and it kind of cuts through that area. And then it brings you out onto a lane. I can never remember the name of the lane. And it was on that area of the pebbled path where there's some long grass that I think I've got bitten there.
Right, so what turns out to be an infected tick bite. We've covered this, you know, subject on the weather show in the past and looked into how the number of ticks are likely to increase because of climate change, because they do like warm and damp weather. One of the things that came through was how difficult it is to get diagnosed, and one lady we interviewed from Baildon ended up having to get diagnosed in Germany. How did you find the process?
Really difficult, to be honest. I ended up, I'd been ill from May 2015. I was house and bed bound pretty much for 18 months until I read an article on Lyme disease and I thought, that's me. So I sent all of my bloods off to Germany, as a lot of Lyme patients do in the UK now, and there it did. It came back a positive for Lyme disease and a number of other tick-borne co-infections as well.
So you spent, this sounds quite typical as well, you had presumably weeks on end where you were bedbound and then you felt better, and it was sort of cyclical. You'd have a few weeks when you felt all right and then you'd go downhill. Does that summarise how you've been?
No, I was just constantly ill every day, but the Lyme specialist that I've been to has said that was probably due to one of the co-infections that I had. Right. So I kind of started off at one point and went downhill and kind of remained downhill. I never really kind of came back up the hill. I never had any good days, unfortunately, until I got treatment.
So how do you feel about what happened to you? I mean, I can honestly say, I mean, it puts the fear of God up me and my 2 young girls because, you know, we like walking. You know, we walked Penny Ghent last month. It's quite scary to know that there are ticks out there that are infected and can give you a disease that there is no known treatment for.
It's true, and I think this is why awareness is critical, especially in the UK, because as the old saying goes, information and prevention is far better than the cure itself, because there isn't one in this case. So I just kind of think spread the word, spread the information, spread the leaflets, and just get everybody aware of what this disease can actually do to you if it's left and not treated in the early stages.
So you perhaps, in a way, could have been a lucky one because you had the telltale sign of that sort of bullseye mark. If you'd have known about that, you presumably could have got treatment in the early stages with antibiotics in the first few weeks, and it might have killed the disease.
Oh, definitely. If I had known that was a tick bite, and that was the classic sign, and I know what I know now about Lyme disease and how devastating it can be, I would have been straight at the doctors. And I'm pretty sure the doctors probably would have known that it was a tick bite at that point.
I think one of the problems is, though, not everybody gets that telltale bullseye circle, do they?
And that is true. And I think as well, I think you've got to know the symptoms. If you've been out camping, you've been in tick endemic areas, and you come down and you feel ill with these typical Lyme symptoms and you've got no bite and no rash, you have to, I think, suspect that it's possibly Lyme disease. But you are right, you don't always get the rash. I know some Lyme people, patients that have never had the rash.
And ticks become quite active at this time of the year, don't they? Because they don't like the cold. So between now and autumn, this is when ticks are sort of active and can bite you.
Oh, definitely. You know, they're coming out of hibernation almost, although they are around and they are active 12 months of the year. They are most prevalently active, I would say, in the spring and summertime.
So how are you now?
I'm better than I was initially, but I'm still nowhere near I was before I fell ill. I still have bad days and have to battle through with lots of symptoms still, unfortunately.
What are the treatments available? Because obviously it's not at the moment curable as a disease. What types of things can you take to perhaps keep it in check? Is there anything any drugs you can take out there?
Well, there are drugs. There's a whole host of antibiotics you can take, pharmaceuticals. There's also antimicrobials, herbal treatments that people are taking. There's lifestyle and diet changes that have also helped me. It's living a clean diet life, and giving up alcohol, and just resting when you can. It's basically a case of managing it, really.
What would your message be to anyone perhaps enjoying some decent weather and going out for a walk? What would you say to them?
I would say you can buy the repellents to actually put on yourself. So have a look out there. There's a number of really good tick repellents that you can buy for adults and for children. So I'd have a look at those. I do have a list of a couple that I use myself. Look at those and get spraying yourself. Spray your legs, spray your arms. If you don't have the sprays and you come back home and you see a bite, go straight to your doctor. Okay,
that's invaluable advice. Sarah, I wish you all the best for the future. Take care.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me.